Okay, it's a Saturday afternoon. It's not even afternoon, it's like Saturday morning. I have a plan for myself today. I've been wanting to do this video for a long time because today's video, which you can probably tell by the title, is gonna be me reading my childhood books. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I had this idea a while ago because for the longest time now, I've realized that my interests and hobbies have veered towards a familiar pattern. And that pattern is all the things that I loved starting from when I was a child. And there's been kind of a cycle that repeats. It happens kind of in order. I did a reread of Harry Potter first. I got into like Percy Jackson and the Kane Chronicles again. Now I'm here as an adult and I realized that all these childhood books that have left such enormous impressions on me, they actually left a very big impact on me, you know? And like, I never picked them back up again. Like, it never occurred to me, funnily enough, that I could just look for them online and read them again. And so that's what we're doing today. I'm so excited. So I have a plan. It's 12 p.m. I have my laundry going, and after that, I'm gonna go get some lunch because I'm hungry, and you can't eat when you're hungry. It's just not allowed. After I get some lunch, I'll come back and I'll start reading. I have my iPad and I've downloaded everything because these books are pretty old, early 2000s. So I found some books which I've downloaded onto my books app, and then we have some books that I just found on the Internet Archive. Basically, the plan is I kind of want to read in sequence of like childhood years up. So I'm gonna start with childhood, early childhood, and then middle childhood, and then the tween years. I have a lot from the tween years just because that's the time when, you know, you were forming impressions, and I read a lot and I could just remember more from that time. So the books I want to read are, first of all, we have Sing with Poldy. So Poldy is a scarecrow, if you don't know. I remember having these books as a child and my parents would read them to me when I was a pretty, toddling little toddler. So this is, I think, one of the first books that I may very well have read in my entire life. I don't know if it's this exact one, but you know what? It's Poldy, so it counts. And then I have The Magic Faraway Tree by Enid Blyton. I remember this left such an impression on me because I still remember to this day, without being prompted, the stories and the guy with the moon face and the saucepan man. There was a tree. Obviously there was a tree. There was a slide that you could slide down on a cushion, like all the way down the tree to exit. And so I remember a lot of it. It's all hazy in my head, but I don't know, the fact that I can still remember it, I think says a lot. We're gonna read that. I think that's the only Enid Blyton book I'm gonna go through today because I remember it being quite chunky, and I know it's for kids, but there's a lot of other stuff that I want to get through as well. And then we have Stardust, Magic by Moonlight by Linda Chapman. So this one is not, I think, a very, very well-known one, but I remember it sticking with me so vividly, even to this day. It's about a girl who finds out that she's a stardust spirit and that she can transform and she can bend these elements. And I still remember the plot so clearly and what happens, and it just left such an impression on me. I think I read this while on holiday with my family at some point when I was maybe 9 or 11 or 10, I would say. And then I have Mackenzie Blue. Oh no, wait, I have the Candy Apple books. So the Candy Apple books are this series of books, very American suburbia tween girl growing up and becoming a teenager, like navigating all these feelings. So very middle grade. They're supposed to relate to the average ordinary American girl. So my favorite one of all is Miss Popularity by Francesco Sedita. It was my favorite because I loved how bold the cover was. I loved the font. I loved, like, when I opened it, I loved that the main character, Cassie, was so bubbly and just so full of life and so positive. And then we have The Babysitting Wars. This I also remember very, very vividly. It's about a girl who is kind of the town babysitter, and she has this retinue of clients that have always come to her. But then a new girl shows up in town and she starts kind of stealing away this girl's clients. And so she's pissed, like this is how she makes her pocket money. So excited to read it because I have not set my eyes on these words in years, a decade over. So my laundry's done. It just went off and it's time for me to hang that up and go have lunch because I'm hungry. I'm back. So I had my lunch. It was yummy. I forgot to film any of it because I was too busy anticipating and eating. But I had dumplings with noodles. They're my favorite dumplings in like the whole wide world. I love them so much. But anyway, we're back. Bellies are full. I also picked up some gummies because I could not resist. I've been liking cola gummies lately. I don't know why. We're gonna get started right away. I'm just gonna be sat here on this couch all day reading because I want to hopefully finish all of them. And I also have to edit this tonight. So I'm gonna start with Poldy. Then we're gonna move on to Enid Blyton, The Magic Faraway Tree. Okay, an update. This is basically a songbook, which I did not realize. In retrospect, I feel like I should have realized that when the book title was Sing with Poldy. But it's a book of songs, and you're supposed to sing it. And it's the cutest thing ever. Have you ever traveled on a camel through the night? Have you ever seen the moonlit desert flash by? Up you climb, we'll soon be on our way, side by side on camels riding high. Honestly, I don't think this is meant to be read by a child because that's pretty advanced vocabulary for like a toddler. I think. So I think it's just meant to be sung to the child, in which case that's not a childhood book of mine. And so, yikes, that was the only Poldy book I could find. But I think I'm just going to skim through this one and skip it because it's not a story. And I'm just going to go ahead and read Enid Blyton, which I'm so excited for. So let me pull that up. So that's the cover. It's a little janky, very blurry, but you know, it's the inside that counts. I'm just gonna start reading this now. It's 2:21 p.m. and I'm gonna start it now. So we'll see what time I end this book. So I finished reading The Magic Faraway Tree. It was so whimsical and magical, and all the characters were just as I remembered them. There was Moonface, who I think was the most vivid memory for me. So for some context, there are these 3 children. They live in the English countryside in a cottage, and nearby their house there is a forest called the Enchanted Wood, and in that forest lies the Magic Faraway Tree. And in this tree live a host of magical, whimsical characters. So there's a man called Moonface who has a face that's round and luminous like the moon. There's a sweet little fairy called Silky. There's a man called the Saucepan Man who just has a bunch of saucepans and kettles hanging about him. There's a dame that washes a lot. So there's just a lot of really interesting, whimsical fairy tale characters. And so these children go off to this tree and have adventures. Oh, that's the other thing. The other thing about this book is that at the very, very top of the tree is a cloud. And in that cloud is a hole leading up to a magical land. And the magical land changes. It comes and goes. So there's the land of presents, the land of upside down, the land of sweets, the land of stories, or, you know, all these things. And it was so much fun. It was definitely very English and very old, like 1950s. I'm not sure when this book was published actually, but it's definitely very, you know, old, quaint English countryside vibes. I didn't notice reading as a child that the children who were girls, had to do the washing and cleaning and basically tidying up after the boys, while the boys had to do like the hard work, like the yard work, the digging in the garden and things like that. And the girls had to do all the housekeeping. So I was a little annoyed by that. But I assume, you know, it's a product of its time. They just got up to all sorts of mischievous adventures. And I loved it. It was so much fun. It was a nice trip down memory lane. And after this, I am going to Google what that book-to-screen adaptation is going to look like, because I know Nicola Coughlan is set to play Silky, and that makes me so excited. But yeah, that was the first book. I would say we're off to a good start. It's 3:43 right now, and I think I'm going to move on to something more contemporary, as in I'm going to skip ahead to my tween years, and I'm going to read the Candy Apple series. So I think I can finish all of those in one go. I remember them being like super short. It's very easy to read. and I'm so excited. So I think I'm gonna start with Miss Popularity, because not gonna lie, I already started reading a few pages a couple weeks ago just because I was too excited, but I haven't fully read anything yet. Okay, so Miss Popularity is about a girl who is the most popular girl at her middle school, but then her parents break the news to her that they are moving towns, which means that she has to start over at a new school, and this new school is not her vibe, and she's having a hard time fitting in. I remember her loving lip gloss, and she was into fashion, and she described all her clothes, and she wrote in her notebook, and she carried around like this fluffy pen, and she was just like the girl I aspired to be when I was like 10 or 9 or whatever, you know? So yeah, so the next couple books will be Candy Apple. I'm gonna try to get through all of them in one go. It's gonna be such a nostalgia blast for me. Let's get going. 2007. So I probably read this around when I was 8, 9. Cassie Cyan Knight. That's her name. Oh, I'm so sad. Let's go. I just wanted to pop in page 26. I was correct. The arch enemy slash frenemy slash transition into friend's name is Mary Ellen. I was so right. I don't know why this makes me so pleased. I can't believe this is supposed to be set in the 6th grade. Like, she's wearing hairspray and lip gloss and mascara in the 6th grade. That's crazy. But I don't know. I love the energy. So we're gonna keep going. Okay. We are finished with Miss Popularity. That took me like 40 minutes to read. That's kind of crazy. Like, one Candy Apple book took me 40 minutes, and I was like really savoring it and enjoying it and all of that. It's 4:36. I started the book around 3:50, and it's 4:36. So I think I'm gonna read The Babysitting Wars next, and then the Sweet 13 one. Okay, but so far I've read 2 books. I don't think I'm gonna be able to finish everything today, but I just want to see how much I can get done. The next book is, let's pick it out together, The Babysitting Wars by Mimi McCoy. That's the cover. I think this one is also a scanned copy. I love the cover designs of these. Like, I was always so drawn to the covers. This is so much fun. I'm literally having so much fun with this. And I was correct. Like, I still remember all these characters' names, which makes me so happy. I'm gonna get started with The Babysitting Wars now. Okay, I'm starting The Babysitting Wars, and I got one name wrong. Her name is Caitlin, but the other girl's name is Nola, not Nora. I think it's close enough. So I just found out that you can actually tap the pages and it'll move. Like that. I've been so conscientiously tapping on those tiny little arrows for nothing. And I only found this out because I can't find them now. And so I'm tapping, and this is so much easier. This makes my life so much more convenient. I don't know why that seems like such a big discovery. I promise you, I'm not technologically inept. I know how to work this thing on a day-to-day normal basis, okay? The iPad needs to charge, and so I'm taking a snack break. Not really a break, I can still read while I charge it, but I just wanted a snack break, okay? These are popcorners. These are so good. It's sweet and salty kettle popcorn flavored, and they're supposed to be very healthy. I had a friend tell me that it's supposed to be a healthy kind of chip. It definitely doesn't taste as seasoned as other potato chips out there because it's baked or something. But yeah, I'll take this, a healthier potato chip. Back to reading. Okay, it's much later now. I have finished a good number of books. Last I updated was The Babysitting Wars. Since then, I finished that and read 2 more Candy Apples. So I did finish Super Sweet 13 and the second book in the Miss Popularity series, which is Miss Popularity Goes Camping. So today I have read a total of 5 books. I started at like 2-ish p.m. It's now 7. So I finished about 5 books in 5 hours, which I think is pretty okay. So I was considering moving on to this. But I still need to edit this by today, and that's just not gonna give me a lot of time, you know? And I haven't like showered or anything. I feel like 5 books is really not bad. It's such a trip down memory lane. What struck me the most was that they're quite short. Like, I didn't realize just how short they were. They still seem like an okay length. When you read these as an adult, it just goes by so fast. Like, so crazy reading them through the lens of someone older, seeing the kind of problems that we used to deal with, but also realizing that the problems that you face as a young girl, even though they're not as, you know, earth-shattering to an adult, they're still quite important. Whether your friends are gonna come to your party, or will you make up with your friend, or just will you fit in at this school? Like, I kind of tend to forget, like, now that I've overcome all of them at this age, how important it actually is, and how monumental they feel when you're dealing with them in your daily life in the present moment. Yeah, it was just so nice to revisit these stories that I remember, but now that I have the words in front of me, I can see and appreciate one more time. And the other thing is, it makes you realize just how long time feels when you're a child. I remember these books feeling like an okay length, and now it's just like they go by so fast. Like, time is passing by faster and faster as I grow older, and I'm not liking how that feels, for sure. But I like being able to sit in this pocket of time and just relive my childhood. So that was good. I wouldn't rate any of them because I think I'm biased in the sense that I will always have a soft spot towards them being the books that I read during my formative years. I think that the issue of what they deal with and the subject matter and the content and whether that is still appropriate for this day and age is another question and another subject entirely, but it's a trip down memory lane. It was really nice. At the end of the day, it was still a very successful reading session. I managed to read 5 books in 5 hours, so that's not bad. That's it. Have a lovely rest of the week, wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next week.